right, Manu, thank you very much. And I want to go out front now to someone who was at the deposition of the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine today, the Bill Taylor deposition, Democratic Congresswoman Karen Bass, who serves on both the House Foreign Affairs and Judiciary committees. Obviously, as I'll say it again, Congresswoman, an hour to read the opening statement, but then 9 hours to submit to questions from your team, from Republicans' teams, from the lawyers in the room. What else did you learn from Bill Taylor that is important today?
Well, I think that it is all in the statement, which I believe he's not confirmed. I thought it was just extremely troubling to hear him confirm essentially what he had said before, which is it is crazy, the idea that you would hold back foreign assistance for a political favor. I have to tell you, when this is all said and done, Ambassador Taylor is a patriot. He is courageous. He was told not to come and testify. He came anyway. I think it was just a very, very critical day in terms of our investigation.
Well, and as you point out, especially as the White House is, is slamming career bureaucrats, as they call them, he has, as he said, served under every administration, Republican and Democratic, since 1985, Reagan appointee at that time, and in some or served under the Reagan administration, and obviously his first ambassadorship under George W. Bush. How important was Taylor's deposition to your impeachment case against the president, Congresswoman Bass?
Well, I think it was critically important. And you know what I believe is happening here is that for the last 2.5 years, people in the State Department have had to live with an administration that denigrated them, that disrespected them, that didn't take their advice. I'm on Foreign Affairs. I travel the world. I go to embassies around the world. And every time I go to an embassy, I have to sit there and essentially encourage them and tell them that, we, the American people, really support them. We appreciate what they're doing. I think his testimony was critical. I think it just shows, once again, you can't just say there's no quid pro quo and do exactly that, and then it's okay. You can't just commit a crime and say that you didn't and then expect it to go away.
It's interesting you say that, because one of the sentences said, according to Mr. Morrison, President Trump told Ambassador Sondland that he was not asking for a quid pro quo, period.
Right.
The next sentence reads, but President Trump insisted President Zelensky go to a microphone and say he's opening investigations of Biden and 2016 interference, and that President Zelensky should want to do this himself. That is the definition of a quid pro quo. And yet it appears Congressman Mark Meadows decided to see just the first sentence there. Here's what he just said. In the same room as you all day, Congresswoman Bass. Here's what he said.
I've been in there for 10 hours. I can assure you there was no quid pro quo.
I mean, at some point in time, you can't just say that something is not happening when all of the evidence is right there in front of you. Now, I have a little bit of empathy for my colleague, because what could he say? The evidence was clear. The testimony was clear. And so for him to say there was nothing new, in a way, that's true. I mean, we did have the president's chief of staff have a press conference last week and give a perfect example of a quid pro quo. And he told all of us, we just have to get over it. You cannot normalize criminal behavior. No one is above the law.
So I want to ask you one other thing that's come out of all this today. And, also as your capacity as the chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Bass, President Trump today tweeted his anger at the whole impeachment process. And he wrote in part, quote, all Republicans must remember what they are witnessing here, a lynching. Some Republicans have defended the president. Lindsey Graham first said, quote, this is a lynching. In a sense, this is un-American. Later, he was asked if he understands why anyone would be offended by those comments, and I want to play for you what Senator Graham said.
Okay.
Lynching is being seen as somebody taking the law in their own hands and out to get somebody for no good reason. Yes, African Americans have lynched. Other people have been lynched throughout history.
Lindsey Graham, a senator from a southern state where thousands of African Americans were lynched, should be ashamed of himself. Shame on him. He knows better than that. When lynching was happening in the United States, and frankly, it wasn't that long ago, the state of Texas put a man to death a couple of years ago for a lynching that happened in the last 10 years. But those were public events. People were invited. They were like sporting events. Come and watch an African American burned to death. Come and watch a hanging. These were advertised as social events, and this is a horrific part of our history. And how dare Lindsey Graham, coming from a state in which thousands of people were lynched, to minimize it that way. For the president to take our constitutional responsibility to provide oversight as a co-equal branch of government, to take that and compare that to a hate crime, he has been consistent. Whenever he faces a day like today, he throws a racial bomb to try to divert our attention. But you know, the testimony today was so explosive, even one of his racial bombs will not divert the attention away from a quid pro quo.
Congresswoman Bass, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.